I don't know if I'm supposed to be pronouncing this "Les Boys." I assume I am, but this is a 1966 Swifty and Shorty cartoon from Famous Studios. This is directed by Howard Post and Morey Reden and written by Howard Post. And I really, really did not like the animation style for this at all. I just couldn't get on board with it. Shorty is trying to wake up Swifty so they can go fishing, but Swifty is not waking up. So Shorty decides to get Swifty ready anyway. And that in itself is a pretty decent concept, and I liked the animation of the backdrops, and I liked the animation of some of the objects that Shorty interacts with, but I hated the animation of the characters. I really do not like this, and I genuinely think that if they'd been animated in the same style as the rest of the cartoon, rather than just being that one solid white blocky colour, I did not like it at all. But I have actually looked ahead. I did a bit of Googling, and there are other Swifty and Shorty cartoons where that's not the case. They actually look different, they look more complete, so I will watch more of them. But based on this one first, it was an interesting idea. And generally, I wouldn't say it was funny, but it was a little fascinating. But I can't look past the animation of the characters. I found it to be really unnerving for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I feel like I'm making too big of a deal out of this, but I just found it to be really unpleasant to watch, and therefore I kind of didn't like the cartoon. That being said, it is an interesting idea of Shorty trying to get Swifty ready while Swifty is still asleep, and I was curious to find out if they would end up going fishing, if Swifty would wake up, if he'd wake up at the end, or while Shorty was getting him ready. I wasn't sure what would happen, and part of me was definitely curious to find out. So it's not all terrible, but at the same time, I didn't care for it. I did not like watching it. The animation was not pleasant all of the time. That might be a personal preference thing. Other people might not have a problem with that. They may not care for that part of it. But for me personally, didn't completely love it. So I will watch more Swifty and Shorty. Had the future cartoons all been in this style, that might not be the case. But it does seem like at some point, I don't know if it's the next cartoon or further down the line, but at some point the characters do have more detail to them, so we'll see what they're like when I get there. But for now, unless you're particularly curious to see what this is like, I'd say Les Boys, and I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that correctly. I have no idea if it's meant to be pronounced Les Boys. If anybody can confirm, please feel free to let me know. I don't recommend it if you're looking for a decent animation, but if you're curious to see what this style is like and whether or not it appeals to you, then the narrative is interesting enough, and I'd say maybe check it out and see what you think.